So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the RGM Experience podcast. My name's Carl Maloney, that guy from RGM, bothering you again for another week here at the podcast. A podcast, ladies and gentlemen, where we delve into the grassroots music industry and beyond and find interesting people within it. And today is no different. My old mucker from Sheffield, Rob Nicholson's on his hands today. Morning, pal. You all right?
Hello, mate.
Yeah, how are we doing? You all right?
I'm good. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. We were just chatting before, and the last time we had a chat was November 2023, which sounds mental.
Mm,
Episode 125, if you want to delve into the archives, guys. And in that episode, we talked about, the first Arctic Monkeys gig that we were both at
yeah.
the Greats.
Yeah.
We had a good chat about that, your relationship with
Yeah.
your Andy in the band and all that kind of stuff. So if people are interested in that older story, you can delve into the archives and look at that. But, time's moved on and you're this big wig photographer now in Sheffield, mate, smashing it. Well done.
Thanks, pal. Yeah. It's been a bit of a journey, really, because it's only sort of 6 years in. I guess when we did the last pod, it was like 3.5 years
Yeah.
I'd been doing it. But I think February this year was like 6 years since I like bought my first camera. And I kind of had this sort of a thing of like, I need to be cracking on now. It's like I'm 6 years in now. I need to be doing
Yeah.
more and doing stuff. But I kind of have that thing where I don't sort of sit back and look at what I've done that much. I'm always like going for, what's next and how do I do this thing or how do I move forward? And
Yeah.
I probably don't spend enough time looking back at what I've done because I think in the time that we've spoke, I've done like loads of stuff and ticked off probably a lot of the things that we might have spoke about of things I wanted to do as well and things like that. So
Well, it's great because one of the biggest and the hardest things for musicians, for bands, for anybody in the creative industry is to go full time and leave the day job and just fucking go
mm,
for it. And you've done that since we last chatted as well.
yeah, yeah.
How's it been moving into doing it full time?
It's great. It's great that you are literally in control of your day and
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want, every day is different. Um, and you can kind of have the days where you think, I'm just gonna chill today, I'm not gonna do much today. Or I suppose the biggest thing is like being able to plan your work around your life and not the other way around. Like obviously working for a huge company that I did, like working for Apple for so long, for like 14 years, you got to give like 5 weeks notice for a holiday day. And,
yeah,
if you've got a client that says, can you do next Thursday and you're working, you've got to find someone to swap and all that kind of thing. So the freedom to sort of do what you want is great. I was gradually like dropping my hours sort of every couple of years or so. So I kind of went from full time to 4 days to 3 days before I did leave. Um, and I think it was just time really. I wasn't getting like fulfilled doing that anymore, working there and
yeah,
being in that sort of environment. I miss the people I worked with. There were people I worked with that were really good. Um, but there was also, times where I'm like, just this is just not me anymore. So, an opportunity sort of came up around June, July last year where I'd like sold my old house and had a bit of money and wasn't really planning on buying another one. So I just thought, well, this is, a year's wage here to kind of
mm,
go for it and see what happens. And it's tough. It is hard, You go from that security to of having a regular wage in every month. And also, little things like we're fortunate with Apple to, your gym would be paid for. You had private healthcare. We had like therapists that Apple would pay for. So
mm,
all that kind of falls on you, If you have a sick day now, you're not getting paid for it, You're not getting paid for your holiday days. So, but there's pros and cons of everything with
yeah.
that kind of thing. So,
Well, I can remember one of the most honest parts of the last podcast that we had is how you opened up about speaking about therapy and mental health and all that kind of stuff, which is it still fascinates me just how just on the outside everything can seem like everything's great, but
mm.
we've all got these little battles, internal battles with us inside. Has it helped your mental health, freeing yourself up to be able to run your own life more than
Yeah,
being
yeah,
tied
it
down?
is. I mean, I after I left Apple, I carried on with my therapist, the
Yeah,
same person, and I would just pay for it myself,
yeah,
which like, it wasn't cheap. It was like 120 quid a time, but it was very important that I still sort of did it. And then I probably did that for like a good 3 or 4 months, and then we just sort of got to a point where we've not said like you don't need this anymore. But when we sort of came to the last session we did, which was like sort of December time, I think,
Yeah.
maybe November. We just said, look, my therapist just said, look, okay, do you just book one when you feel like you need it? And that's kind of like, okay, this is not a goodbye and we're not done.
Yeah.
But when your therapist is like, kind of on a, don't think you need it. And I'm very fortunate that my missus is training to be a therapist as well. So she's
Oh, okay.
very good to like keep me in check and she understands, she's from a creative world.
Yeah.
She had a very good music career in her day and still does music now and still is passionate about music and being creative, and so she knows the sort of the struggle of trying to be in that world and get somewhere and do something. So she's very good to talk to about
Nice. Well, I can
that.
imagine like, having the safety net of, I feel I've been on I've been on the We Go over jobs and stuff. And it's
Mm.
like, and it's a bit like it's like having a false safety blanket really sometimes, 'cause I've like done all right, lost a couple of stone and all that kind of stuff. But I'm getting to a stage where I feel like I shouldn't really do it now and I should be able to do it myself. But I've still got that safety blanket that I think is unhealthy that I can't let go of yet. Does it feel a little bit like that
Yeah,
with therapy
yeah,
as
I guess
well?
so. Yeah, I guess so. I think it's because there wasn't like a definite sort of we're done now. You don't need this.
Yeah.
So it's there. It's there if you need it. And I guess that's the same with that. I know a few people have been on that, and you know what? It works, doesn't it? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it works. But
Just
yeah,
blasted a bit of We
it's
Go over before our chat today, mate. There we
did you?
go. Don't know why I'm going into that. It's just funny. Well, one thing that I did see though recently, you put a big post out. It was an old picture of your old band from 2004.
Yes, it
You
was.
and the
Yeah,
boys from The Wanted.
yeah.
And
Um,
I've just seen you posting, you do your bass videos and stuff. As soon as you started doing those bass videos, playing along to famous songs and stuff, I thought he's getting an urge to come back. That kid, it's something's bubbling inside. Just talk us through how your head
yeah.
is with music at the
Um,
minute.
well, that photo came from Chris Saunders booked my studio to do a shoot, and then the day before he said, "Oh, I've just found this from like my archives."
Yeah,
And I was like, "Oh wow, yeah, that's like," and it's a really good photo. Not that it wouldn't be because Chris is
yeah,
amazing, but
yeah.
I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember going to your studio. It was like, or the studio he had at the time, and it was back at Sharrowville Road, I think, and up these little creaky stairs, and we did that shoot." Yeah, but the bass thing, I think, I don't know. I have this thing ever so often. It might be like ADHD, I don't know, but I pick something up and I'm back into it again, and
Mm.
it consumes me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm into it. I was like it with boxing. I was like it with like the bass. Pick the bass back up, and I was like it with golf again recently. I pick something up and I'm in it, and I'm dedicated to it, and I want to be good at it. And yeah, I just sort of started having a go really, and the bass video things I was doing were more the posting aspect of them was to make me accountable to keep practicing and keep doing stuff.
I was going to ask you
Really,
about that because visually you always make things look cool as fuck, and you try new things with graphics and stuff. I noticed, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you just is it like a test to yourself? How
yeah, a
cool can
little
I make
bit.
this
So
little
it'd
thing?
be practicing sort of like what lighting's going to work for this. How's it going to look good? How's it going to
Yeah.
stand out? Not that that people that do these like ones like in the bedroom or the front room are like rubbish or anything. Far from it. They're probably much more. Well, I'm certain they're all much better bass players than I am, but I like the visual side of it as well. And for me, it was just the practice, practicing playing the songs, practicing learning the songs, practicing the syncing and the editing of the music back into Final Cut where I was editing the video, making the lighting look good, the color grading. It was all just practice for
Yeah.
stuff that I probably didn't realize at the time that you're not just learning a song here, you're learning how to color grade this video properly. You're learning how to light it well and all that and make things pop and stand out and stuff. So yeah, I got really into it. And then I was posting stuff because I thought if I get to a point where I'm not posting and someone says you're not doing it anymore, then I'll be like, yep, I need to keep going, I need to keep going. So I haven't done any for a while, to be honest, but I think it's just a time thing and obviously since then we sort of picked up mute the instruments again as a band. So
Well, that picture was from, I think it was, what was it, 2004, yeah, because
2004, yeah.
it stood out to me because I knew a load of people in it. I know the Revel brothers personally. I knew
Yeah.
it was just like I hadn't seen a picture of David, who I used to work with, funny enough,
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
well. And then, it would just a lovely little flashback for me personally, just see those old faces again. And
Yeah, and to think that was like 22 years ago was
yeah, man,
like
mental.
mental. Yeah. Yeah. I look at it and think I don't think I've aged, but I obviously I have, but
You've aged better than me, pal. I'll be honest with you. You're like a fine wine, pal. I saw you on the CEO podcast and all with Jimmy. I watched that
yeah.
episode with you, and I thought, yeah, he's aging well. That boy. He's all right. Go on,
Thank
tell us
you.
about how do you feel like you? Because I know you do your yeah, you got rated to your exercise and stuff as well, and you filmed all that, didn't you? You made all that look
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, same
You
thing
made being in
again.
the gym look cool.
That was like talking to my mate who
Yeah,
still does that. He works out like every day. He's there at 6 in the morning every day, and he works out literally. He'll do some form of activity 365 days a year, and that's him saying he was saying to me like I post it because I'm making myself accountable,
yeah,
and
nice.
someone will then say you're not doing it anymore, and it kind of makes you do it. And so I was doing that, yeah, to make myself accountable for doing it. And then that kind of just led into doing the same reason of posting the bass videos as well, really,
So
of doing that.
why do you
But
feel like you've got to make yourself do it? Have you got something inside you that just that you
I
need
think,
that structure?
yeah, I think so. And I think I get to a point where that itch will have been scratched and I'm like, I don't do it anymore now.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, you do. You still need to be healthy. You still need to, be
yeah.
active and do stuff. And then, that's why in the past when I wasn't, I would like lose weight and then put it back on and lose weight and put it back on and stuff. And which kind of did happen last year. I put like a bit back on, but I managed to shift it all since
Shit.
then. Shift it all back again since then. So
So
yeah.
when first sort of right, I saw these videos of you on this bass doing these songs and thought, so I thought I could tell there was something going on in the back of your head because it is what it is, isn't it? And I knew
Mm.
I've known you through the years, being in bands and that kind of stuff. And I think I texted you and said, "Is Dead World Leaders coming back?" And you're like, "No, no, that's not coming back. That's not coming back."
Well, when I
Uh,
started those bass videos, that wasn't
no,
like
okay,
on the radar at all, really. I think I just did it because I liked it
yeah,
and I wanted to learn. And then I kind of thought I would do something again, maybe with other people and do different, something new or go and play for a mate or something like that. Um, and then I got really into it, which then led me to buying a new bass and which I absolutely love, the black Jack Cassidy one because it just looks cool as fuck.
yeah.
And it sounds great. I took it and got it like properly set up and had like flat wound strings on it and everything, so it sounds really sort of 60s-ish. So I wasn't really sort of thinking about it. I think I picked the bass back up in maybe like or June, July, sort of 23, maybe. I think, or maybe 24 actually. I think it was 24, and then it was January 25 that me and Andy and Kyle from Dewell Leaders sort of went for a drink just because we'd not seen each other for a while.
Yeah, nice.
And we always used to like, oh, should we try and get together around Christmas one year? And we never kind of did, but we managed to do it in like January last year. And Andy was sort of saying about how he was listening to the first EP that they brought out, which I'm not on. It's the old bass player that's on that. And he was like, it just doesn't sound like us. It sounds so different. And he works very closely still with Dave Sanderson at Crystal Ship Studio. They have a band together. Andy's still very actively, making music. He's in about 3 different bands, I think. So, does a lot of writing and recording with people. And we were just sort of having this drink in Fagans, obviously. And he just said, oh, I think I can get the stems from the first session. So that was like 2006 in Two Fly with Alan Smythe when they had done it. And what he wanted to do was just re-record my bass into it. So strip it all out and re-record it. And then we've got this sort of collection then where everything that's out there as There Were Leaders is the 4 of us. So yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I'll do that. I don't think I'd want to go I don't know if I want to do anything else
Yeah.
past that. I don't know. So we kind of got it planned. I got the songs instantly, used like a bit of software just to take all the original bass off, so I wasn't like influenced by the original parts or anything. And then just sort of spent a good couple of months sort of redoing them really, and practicing them and sending ideas over. And then we booked some time in the studio September last year with Dave, which was lovely because like all four of us were there, but it was only me doing anything.
Mm.
But all four of us were in the studio for the day. Um, and I'd sort of practiced them enough, got to the point where I think it was like two takes of each thing, and we were done. And then Dave just remixed it all, which was hard. You know, props to Dave Sanderson because that would have been really tricky working with like 20-year-old stems with plugins that don't exist anymore on them
Yeah.
and stuff. So we kind of had to really rejig a lot of things and sort of get them sounding really good. And I think, and he has done, yeah, I think it sounds really good. Like I'm really pleased with how they've come out. And it was more of it like a celebration of the sort of 20 years of that first EP of the band, really. So that was the plan. And then we sort of did it. We did the studio, and then kind of enjoyed it. And then we sort of thought, oh, let's just have a rehearsal. And like, I think December was like the first one we did. It's like, oh, let's just have a rehearsal somewhere and see how we go. And we sort of did it. We're like, yeah, it sounds all right. And we remembered more than we played
Yeah.
better than we thought we would for. I mean, ironically, the rehearsal that we did was, I think it was 16 years to the day of the last gig, which we didn't realize until we were sort of practicing. The last gig was in the Harley on like the 11th of December or something, and we did a rehearsal on the 11th of December or whenever it was last year. So yeah, we did a few, and then we were like, well, let me just do something. Let's just do something as a celebration, maybe. Let's think about it. And then it took about 3 or 4 rehearsals before we were like, okay, maybe we could
Mm.
do something. And there's a lot of, there's sort of 3 or 4 songs that we're like, I'm not doing them anymore. They're done. Like, don't like them. Um, there's one that I really like playing, which is called House of Frauds, that I had to like almost fight to get back on the set list because they're just like, no, I don't like it. I'm like, I love it. I mean, maybe because it's really bass driven.
Yeah.
And it's interestingly sound because it's distorted bass, and I think it's quite interesting drum beat on it. So yeah, we're just gonna sort of see what happens, and then hopefully, well, then Ben Hartley actually from the Lead Mill group sort of reached out and was like, if you're looking at doing something,
Yeah.
let us know. Love to help. Put some money behind it and get some promotion done. And a few people did actually, like Russ at Yellow Arch wanted to sort of get involved and
Yeah.
see what we wanted to do. And I think for us, it was just finding the right venue and the right size and being a bit cautious, maybe too cautious. We're not like booking the Octagon and thinking everyone will have missed us. Like, let's book a venue that, if we only get 120 tickets, it's still full. So
Yeah.
let's do something like that. So yeah, that's the aim. That's the aim. Hopefully, all being well, 12th of June,
Nice.
we'll be doing something at the Hallamshire Hotel in Sheffield. Is it still called Hallamshire Hotel? I know it
I think it
changes
is, yeah.
names a lot. I think it
Yeah,
is
I
still
think
called that. But
yeah, I've not
just
been
had
since
lots
it's
of
been
it.
revamped again.
Yeah, neither have I. Andy's played it. Andy played bit guitar for Matt Hall there
Mm.
and said it was really good. And I've seen good reports of it, and a lot of people have said it sounds really good. The stage is really good. So I think that would be the place we do it, and hopefully we pull it off.
Well, I'm glad to see Andy's still in the game because I used to play
Mm,
with Andy's, but he used to have a band called Daybreak,
mm.
which we used to support quite a lot, quite often
Did
at
you?
gigs and stuff back in Sheffield. Yeah, Daybreak. They were
Yeah,
like really they were different to us. We were just like lads having a laugh type thing and just doing a bit of indie stuff and having a good drink and stuff. But they were
yeah,
like talented musicians. They were like
yeah.
really
Well,
like
that was the
on it.
one thing that surprised me that when we had that rehearsal, like Kyle was really, his pedal boards like got bigger since the last gig we did, and
Yeah.
he's got new guitars and new, so he's good that he still plays at home and stuff. And then Dan, I don't think Dan had drummed. I think he sold his kit basically, so I don't think he drummed since then, but he was on it. He was really good. I mean, he was knackered because they're fast songs,
Yeah.
and we're all 15,
That's
16
plenty of
years
time.
older.
Yeah.
Um, and he had big blisters on his hands and stuff, but
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really good, and he's been going. Dan's been going and doing like his own rehearsals, and there's a place in Sheffield that's just for drummers.
Oh.
So he's been going there and just renting a space and just drumming and getting match fit, I guess, and trying to get back
So,
to the level he wants to.
so one more gig and just enjoy it. Is it like a closing the
Maybe,
chapter
yeah.
type thing,
I
or
don't
never
know.
say
I'd
never?
honestly, yeah, I'd never say never. I don't honestly know. I mean, if we do it and someone goes, do you want to play tramlines? I'm like, oh, okay, maybe we do that as well. I don't know,
Yeah.
but who knows? Like, who knows? I think it's a bit of a weird one. Like when I was doing the bass video stuff, I'm only ever hearing like the bass in my headphones.
Yeah.
So I'm learning them, and then I'm playing them along to them, and then I'm editing them and putting them back in whatever, putting the tracks back into sort of final cut, and I'm editing the video with it and syncing it all together. So I was only ever hearing that in my headphones.
Right.
So for me, the rehearsal or the first two rehearsals were like, oh, it's just nice to be feeling the air move, when the amp's behind me and
I miss that so
hearing
much
it.
myself. I miss that so much. I'd love to just do
Yeah.
one. When I saw you doing another gig, I thought I'd love because our band just like kind of like frittered away and just ended up like
Yeah. Well, so,
people went
we
their
did
own way.
really. Yeah, we didn't sort of announce that was going to be the last gig. We just sort of, I mean, we kind of did officially split up as a band, and we did another little thing, a few of us afterwards. But yeah, when maybe that's what you need. Maybe you just need that closure.
Closure, yeah. Yeah,
And
I've asked him when every time I have a drink and have a few too many, I text him and he's like, "Nah, I'm not bothered." So
yeah,
I know it's not going to happen, but I
nah.
just love that opportunity just to tread the boards one more time and
I
blast
mean,
it.
even just rehearse together.
Yeah, yeah.
Even just have a
I
practice
always go
room.
too far. You know what I mean? I always go like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
always think,
yeah.
yeah, we'll hire the Octagon and then we'll go like straight into it. When I should just be like, let's just fucking be mates and play a few tunes together.
Yeah, let's just go and rehearse somewhere and
Yeah,
make a bit of noise and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah, yeah. I was. That's where my head was really like. Just wanted to make a bit of noise again and
yeah.
feel it. And the first few sort of rehearsals, because I wasn't like used to that feeling of the bass amp and the low. I was like feeling sick afterwards, like because of the frequency of the amp. I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel a bit sick here. Like this is really weird, and
So did you have it? Did
ears
you
are
still have all
ringing.
your old bass gear anyway? Did you did it?
I sold a few basses, but I kept hold of that Fender one because that's like a very special bass to me. That my brother bought me that.
Oh,
But I had like a Burns that I sold. I had an Epiphone Thunderbird that I'd sold. So that one was the only one I had. Um, and my amps are around, but I don't know where they are. I think they're in Crystal Ship in about three different spots of that studio. In fact, when we went in to record, because I just did it sort of coming out of the desk, so I didn't go into the live room.
mm.
But I remember going into the live room for something. I thought it was when Andy was doing his video interview with Chris about his book and the
Oh
photos in
yeah,
the
yeah.
book.
No.
So we filmed it in there, and I remember going in and being like, "Is that my bass amp?" They're like, yeah, I think so. I'm like, oh, because I just gave it. I like gave it to Tim Hampton. Like, can you just look after this for me? So it's in about four different spots, and it probably needs repairing and all that. But
That's my old amp down there.
yeah, so the cab was there. The amp head is around somewhere that I know needs fixing, and there's another speaker somewhere,
Yeah.
all in Crystal Ship Studio somewhere. So yeah, that'll be
Have you left
interesting
it too long to go and get it back now? Then do you think?
No, no, I could probably get it. It just needs fixing. It's just
Uh,
I'm very much like the faff of having to get that fixed. I'll just buy a new one
yeah,
or
fair
borrow
enough.
one.
Yeah,
I'll just borrow one. I was speaking to Roland the other day about it. He's like, "Oh, we got one. You can borrow one of
yeah,
ours or something." So I might just do that
yeah.
instead.
Well, you mentioned your Andy's book there. I've got a copy. My missus bought me a copy for Christmas.
Oh, nice, nice, yeah,
An absolutely stunning book, and look back,
yeah.
just going back to the old episode in the archives when we had a chat. Yeah, your brother
Mm,
was Andy, the original member of the Arctic Monkeys, and he's just brought out this amazing book over Christmas. That was it's such a beautiful book and memoir, and look back over the early days,
mm,
backstage and in and around Camp Arctic Monkeys back in the day.
yeah, yeah.
Is it like I wanted to mainly ask you, like two brothers have got this natural talent for photography. How does it feel like as Nicholson's? How do you like use that relationship between each other to to develop and keep doing this thing?
Well, we do both sort of support each other with that kind of thing. We both like I'm every few weeks Aaron is like in which studio. I mean, his studio is next to mine, so we're
Uh,
normally we have like the whole bottom floor of the building we're in is like our little area. Um, so he'll text back, "Are you in the studio? I need to do some photos." Like, yeah, come in and we'll do them, and you know, but yeah, very supportive of each other's stuff, and I don't know. It's hard to describe, really. It's I don't think we would talk ourselves down, but we're not like, yeah, we're right good. You know what I mean? Look how
yeah,
great
yeah,
we
yeah.
are. You know this.
I didn't mean like, I didn't think you'd be like that.
Yeah.
I just mean like, you've got a really strong, you've built this really strong reputation for doing good work.
Well,
And
thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
having Andy's, history of, and bringing that
Mm,
book. I didn't know, I know about his work after the Monkeys and stuff, and Clubs and Spades and all the music that he did.
yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know until he brought the book out that he did photography. So I just thought it was quite
Yeah.
interesting that you both got this talent for it.
Well, I think that comes from our uncle, really. So our uncle Paul used to work for the Star,
Mm.
Sheffield Star, and was a wedding photographer. And my granddad would do stuff, and my great uncle, who's no longer with us, would take photos and buy all the gear and have loads of kit and everything. And he came up not long ago actually. I've got some stuff of it here, like some really old film cameras that my uncle was like, I want you to have them. And I'm like, I don't know how to use them, so I'll just put them on a shelf and they'll be,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, so maybe it probably comes from that of, I don't know if there was ever like a sort of conscious like I want you to be into photography because I do it as a job or this, that, and the other. I probably just seeing it and just, you know, being around it or subconsciously wanting to get into it, I think. But that was the same with music. Like no one really in our family played an instrument until Andy picked up a bass, and then I were like, "Oh, I could do that, and I like the look of that. Let's have a go."
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't probably not a conscious like thing. It's just something we kind of fell into, and both passionate. When we get into something, you want to be good at it. I'm certainly like with everything I do, like I want it to be good, and I want it to look right, and not for like anybody else but myself, really.
Yeah.
Like I want to be happy with it, and that's still the main ethos with all of my work with Pedalo is like, do I like it, and am I happy with it more than anything, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's great, and those photos are great. I
Yeah.
bet at the time you probably thought, oh, they're just like rubbish photos
Yeah.
taken on little cameras. But now when they capture a moment and they capture a side of that band that nobody gets to see.
Mm.
They're very like there's only Matt that has social media, so they're not out there posting stuff. When they were sort of touring the Car album, the Monkeys Instagram account would only ever just sort of post an Instagram story of the poster of that gig from that date. There's not much on there. So it's probably a look into the early workings of that band that no one's ever seen. I mean, I know no one's ever seen those photos before until then. There's maybe one or two that might have been shared, but they're all really, really rare. They were just sat on an hard drive for sort of 10, 15 years and until they wanted to do this thing with them. So it's lovely. And they've all seen it. They all love it. Matt said that when Andy gave him a copy of the book and he read it, it like made him cry. And Jamie was the same. And Alex was sort of quite emotional. Like Alex even sort of helped Andy come up with titles. Like Andy came up with the title of the book that it is now, but Al was like, "Oh, wow, what about this? What about that?" And so they were very sort of engaged with it as
Yeah.
a project for Andy, which was lovely.
It must have been like really nice, like closures to a chapter in your life that people like talk around a lot around you,
Mm,
probably. But what you didn't have a physical thing where you can say, "This happened. I look back on it fondly, and I'm in a different space in my life now."
yeah,
It
yeah.
must have felt like maybe for you both. I don't know. I don't want to speak for either of you, but it must have been like a nice like end of a chapter thing, just to
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was nice because Andy's very reserved anyway,
yeah,
and never really used to speak about his time in the band or anything like
yeah,
that. I think he only did it sort of once or twice. So for him to see him when he was promoting the book and the exhibition, and he was doing so much press, like Absolute Radio, Radio X, BBC Sheffield, Look North, all that, and loads of podcasts he was doing to talk to people. It's really good to see him talking about it and being there because it was not a nice time when he was removed from the band, and he did suffer mentally quite badly, and he's come out the other side and done a lot of work. And I think that's also part of his story with this whole thing is like, things can get better and you can move on and you can look back at a time with fond memories, even if something happened there. So yeah, massive respect for him for the way he's been about really and done it. And
Well, passing our regards. It was my favourite Christmas present this year from the missus. It was a lovely
yeah, it was lovely. You know what was lovely as well?
present.
There's the exhibition that was on. Obviously, we had a friends and family night, which was great, and it was really nice to see people there. And it was nice to see like Al's mum came and Al's dad came
Nice.
to the opening night, which was lovely. And then and Al's mum got like really emotional and like loved it. And lots of our friends did. Like lots of friends came over the weekend that it was on. I mean, I remember my mum was like, if 200 people come, that'd be amazing. I was like, it was like 1,500 people through the door.
Yeah.
And sold loads of books, and people were in there, kids who probably wouldn't have even been alive when Andy was in the band, spending hours in there just looking at all these photos and obviously all this memorabilia that he has. It's got like Al's first guitar on the wall and his first bass and these old MacBooks and these old cameras and all these old tour itineraries and like passes and things like that, exhibited for people. So for people to be really engaged with it who won't remember Andy being in the band because they might not have been alive or they were too young was great, spent so much time there. So it was nice. And yeah, all the parents came and
Yeah.
it was lovely. Like the band's parents came down. It was fortunate. It was the weekend that they were in London doing the help thing for
Mm.
War Child, so they were not in. But it was lovely to see so many people there and people we'd not seen for ages. Like Big Nigel was like the old bass tech from back in the day who just no one had heard of from like came like Andy was like really emotional, like, oh my God, fucking Big Nigel's here. And like it was great, it was lovely to see it. And Matt's mum and dad being there and all that. So
Yeah.
it was really nice and really great support. And it's done really well. Yeah, the book's been great and people all over the world are buying it, which is lovely, sending it to like Argentina and Mexico and Australia and all these places where still a call. People want to see
Mm.
that story and stuff. And some of the photos are genuinely like really good. Even like obviously at the time I wasn't doing anything like that, but from a photography eye now, like some of those photos, like these photos are freaking great. Like they're really good and they're just. I think they
Did you give him
probably.
any pointers on any of them?
No, and I'll kind of just let him to it. I'll just left him to it. There's one day, so he took. I think there's one in there that I took, which was
Oh.
maybe Leeds Festival. I think I was stood at the back of the stage and I took this photo with this big sort of like sea of people. It was like 7,500 people trying to get into a tent that held 4,000 or
Yeah.
something crazy. So I think I took this photo because there's some video from it as well that I saw on YouTube that I don't like how they got it, but
Yeah.
it was like I remember commenting on it a few years ago and like I filmed that. Like, how did you get that video? Because I filmed that video. So yeah, the book itself is great and it just tells that thing. And I think it dispels a lot of, people think being in a band at that age, it's all like rock and roll and you're doing this, that. It's like it's not, it's just sitting in a dressing room, drinking warm beer and having ham sandwiches and
Mm.
trying to entertain yourselves. Because it's also a world that's pre-social media.
Mm.
So it's four lads, with their sort of team of people that aren't all sat on the phones, PlayStations with the wired remote because wireless remotes weren't a thing then. Do you know what I mean? On the tour bus and stuff like that. So it's a real time capsule for that. And I think that's what people took from it and like from it. And a lot of people have, James, our friend James Zawara got really emotional when he went to see it, and Joe Carnell did because there's a big photo of him when he was like 17 years old on the bus, and You know, a lot of people were really sort of emotional and really proud of Andy as well for coming through and
Is there any left?
doing this thing. Books.
Yeah.
Keep yeah, yeah. Well, keep having
I'll
to get
put a
them.
link. I'll put a link in the description
Yeah,
of this
there will
podcast for
be. They
people to
keep
get
having
hold
to
of
get
it.
them reprinted because
Yeah.
they just the demand's been so big. It's like, okay, we've got to order some more. We've got to order some more.
Yeah.
They are actually now on. You can buy them in Glass Vintage shop in
Yeah.
Sheffield. You can go in
Right,
and
yeah.
buy them in there as well. So took some in there.
Oh, brilliant.
I think the biggest thing that's gone was the poster because we had this stack like this big of the first ever tour poster, and they were just in Andy's loft. So he was like selling them, and people were going mental for them because it's the original one. Like it's an original tour poster from 2005, whenever it was. So
Yeah. Has the rest of the band got like hordes of this kind of stuff? You know what I mean? Like, do you
I don't
think?
know. I don't know. I remember I was talking to Jamie not too long ago. It would have been before the book came out. We were in Fagan's, as we always are. We were both in there talking about it. I can't remember what had been on. Something had been on, and there was a lot of us in there for some reason. And Jamie was like, "Oh, I've got some photos that I think Andy would like," and I think he sent them to him because he's like, He's like, "I'd never seen them before, so I don't know where they're from, but there were some photos from that era that Jamie had." Um, I don't know if Matt's mum and dad might do, but I don't know if Matt does. I doubt I will, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you never know. His mum and dad probably will have something.
Well, it like I just see the growth of Pedalo and all these experiences you've had in the past, and there seems to be like another swirl of activity that's going on around you as well as a goalkeeper for a
Yeah.
pub, the Royal
For
Oak
the
as
Royal
well, mate.
Oak,
So
yeah.
you've got this other massive thing that's surrounding you as well. That so
Yeah.
if you don't know, together as one, we're all together as one. Rob is a goal. How's your finger, by the way?
It's still, I know you probably can't see, it's still swollen and it still
Yeah.
doesn't bend properly. And I think I've got arthritis in it, but
Right.
I think it will be all right if I just tape it up. It'll be fine,
Well,
I think.
for anybody that doesn't know, goalkeeper for the Royal Oak, Steve Bracknell's your manager. He's all
Assistant
over.
manager.
Assistant manager. I always get that
Assistant
wrong.
manager. Yeah.
Paul Sampson is the manager. You will have seen him on live. You'll have seen Bracknell. You've seen him on the BBC. You'll have seen this project that we had Chris on the podcast. Just as it was about to blow up, I think we get some funny comments on it. It's like just the backstory of creating this Steve Bracknell story and how many years ago it all started. 14, 15 years ago, he had this idea for this character that's developed into this big, massive, amazing weekly soap opera on the BBC that happens now. And
Yeah, yeah.
I just love it I think it's a Thursday at 7 o'clock, popping onto
Yeah.
YouTube and seeing what's happening this week down at the Royal Oak. It must be lovely to have this other project surrounding you as well.
Yeah, it's incredible like the way the last year, 18 months, it's just really gone mad. Because like 15 years ago we were doing this thing and
Yeah.
it was fun. I mean, it still is fun, but like not knowing what to expect, and then now we're going to be playing a game at Sheffield FC's ground in front of the biggest crowd they've ever had there. So
And is it going to be streamed? We don't know yet. That's the story.
don't know yet. Hopefully, if you
we're all
can get
petitioning. I've got an email asking for petition, so I've signed that.
subscribe to the Games Gone podcast YouTube channel, and hopefully it will be. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun,
How
Yeah.
how is it for like you guys like in and around that environment? Just watching how much it's blown up and gone mainstream after being its own little YouTube thing to go in. How is it around you?
It's pretty mad, and I don't know if it's a bit like, I don't know, like when you're sort of like friends with a band, or you're sort of in
Yeah.
the sort of close circle with a band. I guess like I was with Anti Monkeys when it kicked off.
Yeah.
You're so close to it that I don't think you realize it or see it. I mean, like we did a video. I mean, since then they've gone mad, but like we did one a while ago, and I remember Chris saying that videos had like 2 million views on YouTube or on Instagram, and we were just like, oh, sound. Like not like, wow, that's incredible. You know, like there's stuff that I think there's one of like the warming. He's not an octopus when everyone's just doing the classic Sunday league firing a football at you from everywhere.
Oh, your camera's gone, pal.
Has it gone?
There we go.
Back on.
Oh, back on. There we go.
Hang on, hang on.
Good old soup. There we
We're
go.
on?
We're
We're on,
on.
we're on.
There we go, mate.
Right, where were we? Yeah, there was one where we'd done the sort of octopus. It's not an octopus video where everyone's firing a ball at me at the same time.
It's it keeps popping off there, pal. Are you on it?
Let me change my camera because that might be.
All right, mate.
There we go. That might be better.
There we go. Yeah. So
Yeah, with this video gone mad, and it messed with the other days. Like I said, like 9 million views or something on Instagram, and it's mental.
Yeah,
it's mental. But I think I don't know, maybe we're so close to it, we don't step back and appreciate it. I don't know. I think it's a very similar situation to something. Some things blow up that quickly that you don't have, you don't see it coming. So I don't know if you have time to react to it and be like, wow, that's mad. You know what I mean? Like the live show was an indication of like, oh, this is pretty mental actually. And the shop, like
selling out Sheffield City Hall. Wow, I didn't even have that on the list. There's so much going on around you, Rob.
And then obviously it's that, you know, they've come to see Steve, haven't they? We were just sort of there as, I'm going to bring you out and do stuff with you. And the shop was the same. Like, I think we were sort of like, you know, if there's 50 people queuing to get a shirt, that'd be mint. But then we get to the shop and the queue's going all the way out to the car park. And you're like, wow, this is mad. And we were just there to sort of keep the crowd entertained, really. Like, you know, or we were there in the kit and we were just outside having photos and signing autographs and
you know when
really.
something's happening when you see kids dressing up for darts in Steve Bracknell.
Oh yeah. My favourites are like World Book Day, when people go as Steve and Bob, and World Book Day, really good, and people go dressed as him at the darts, which is really funny. So you know, I don't think people understand the work he put in, and you know, there's a lot of graft and a lot of sacrifice for anything like that. So he's doing great, and this match will be. I don't know what to expect from it, but it should be fun, hopefully.
Well, like jump onto the Steve Bracknell socials, sign that petition to get it streamed.
Yeah.
I saw the official letter asking for support.
But like
the biggest game in the club's history.
Yeah, the tickets went mental. So like the tickets for it sold out before it even got to general sale.
Wow.
So we're like, wow, there's a really lot of people that want to come that can't come, and you know what we're going to do and all that. So hopefully they get that sorted, and it gets streamed some way or another, and people can watch it, because there's, you know, people coming from a long way to come to this game. So,
and are you going to be match fit? Do you know yet? Have you got like a late?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, there's a lot of us now. Like, it's getting like, you know, when he told us about it, there was a few of us like, oh, we'll be fine. And we had like one sort of like knockabout at pits to like see how we were. And then, but I didn't play in that because I didn't want to like risk anything. And now it's getting close to like the lads are sending videos of themselves going for a run or doing something. So yeah, I do need to do some form of work towards it. But it's just the time at the minute. It's really busy. So I'm, you know, finding every day there's something on. And if it's not on and it's a weekend, I'm normally over at my missus's, or she's over with me, or we're going somewhere crazy, doing something like we did the other week. We went to Manchester. So yeah, that was an eventful weekend of doing things. So
what did you do over in Manchester?
We went to
where I am now.
Yeah, we went to that Talking Sopranos thing.
Oh, nice.
We went to that, and then took my mum to that, and then we went to the Sony Brit Awards after party. And so we went to, which was mad. being in, this little room, and there's like Noel Gallagher's there, and
Oh, yeah.
Kelly Osbourne's there, and Mark Ronson's DJing, and there's about 200 people in it, and it's 2 a.m, and everyone's like loving it, and my mum's like dancing, and my missus is dancing, and I'm obviously I don't drink, so
Yeah.
by 2 a.m, I'm like, can we go home now? I want to go home.
Any funny stories from that night, mate?
Um, well, when we got there, we went to like the Soho House it was in Manchester, which I'd never been to before, but it was quite I liked it actually. And we got in and we like, got in and got through the list and checked his names off and got his little wristbands and what have you. And got in the lift. They were like, right, so you go in this lift and you go to the 8th floor, that's Mark Ronson's after party. Like, right, cool. So we get in the lift. The lift's just about to shut, and this PR girl comes in and was like, "Could you mind if you clear the lift so Skepta can get in with his group?" I was like, "Yeah, all right." like me, my mum, and my missus, and this other girl like getting out of the lift, Skepta getting into this lift. So we got in another one, and we like came out at the same time on the floor, and just sort of like looked at each other, and like walked into this party. But yeah, it was good. It was good. So my missus' friend manager, but he was managing her back in the day. He looked after Mark, so that's kind of why we went to that.
Nice. So keep yourself.
And in
busy.
true sort of like Ponzi style, we didn't go to the actual Brits. We just went to the after party.
Oh, no, okay, fair. You went to the main bit, the fun bit.
Went to the main. Yeah, I didn't go to the fun bit. But yeah, but it was good. It was really good. And yeah, I remember like telling my mum, "Oh, by the way, after we go to the Sopranos, we're going to go to this party." She was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah."
Wow.
So yeah, it was fun.
Okay, really. So like, let's leave on a note on Pedalo then. So Pedalo's your baby. Pedalo is this amazing, creative space where you do video now as well as all your photography and stuff. And I do like it when you get a new toy because it's straight on the socials and just
You
like
can
you get a new,
yeah, you can see. Yeah,
I didn't mean like I've just mean if you get like a new drone or something. Like when drones come out and it's like, oh, Rob's got one.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
testing his stuff. He's always, you like a new gadget, don't you? And a new toy.
I do. I bought a video camera just before Christmas. I bought an FX3, which was like very expensive, but I think photography is my thing, So an FX, it's just a video, like specific video camera, but it's like, it's the smallest like Netflix approved camera you can get, basically. So it's really like, I filmed like, I filmed the Tell Me What You Want video for Tom Rowley. I filmed that on it, and just to make sure the quality was good. And I filmed John's Reverend and the Makers video for 27 past midnight. We filmed that on it as well and made it all sort of cinematic looking. But the video side of things came about because you just can't just be you can just be a photographer, I guess, but there's a lot of demand for a lot of things. And, that's why I also moved into the video side and then the content side as well, of making content for musicians and artists and stuff, and places like Pearl, like food places like Pearl and what have you. Because it's a powerful thing to have, and I didn't want to just limit myself to just doing photos, really.
Yeah, well, like album covers, you've just I saw you'd put and you explained why you did the shot for Tom Rowley's new album as well. Like that just looks like all
that was
stuff, and you make the videos that you give something back to the community as well. You explain. You explain what you're up to and stuff, and show a little bit behind the curtain, which I like.
I think that's important to show that it's the workings of it. I think, and with that particular shot, I think I wanted to talk about it because it was like on my main sort of camera, so that it was on my Sony A7 IV camera that I took the photo on, but the lens was like £27 plastic lens off Instagram, that was like a bit of a trendy thing to have, and it just gave me the look I wanted. And then we did like slow shutter photos, so that photo is like not edited. That's how it came out of camera, which is great. Less work you have to do and stuff like that. So it was good. Yeah, it's good. It's great working with Tom. Like, Tom's great, his music's great, he's really building. Now he's doing lots of stuff. The album sounds great. Obviously I've had access to it or heard it, I've had it for a while. So I'm looking forward to that coming out and everyone else being able to hear it. really enjoy the gigs and stuff, and just sort of doing the content side of things for him, and
Yeah.
running his sort of Instagram with James, and being part of that little team that's just sort of helping him get to that next level. And
Because
it's
I
been, yeah,
didn't
it's
know
been fun.
until I saw a really old picture of Milburn. I didn't get the connection that I used to be in Milburn as well. And then
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
watched a video of him earlier, and I thought, now that's a proper accent. That's where
yeah,
I'm from. That accent.
yeah. So
I
yeah,
didn't get
obviously
the
he did Milburn, and then he was in the touring band with Arctic Monkeys for
yeah,
sort of 10, 11 years.
yeah.
And sort of did this album around sort of maybe a year ago, so maybe a little bit longer. I don't know the timeline of it, but did it in LA, New York, and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and worked with some really good people on it. And the music's incredible. Like the sound of it is really, really good. So I'm like looking forward to everyone being able to hear it, because I've been fortunate enough to hear it a lot and have it for a long time. And
That's-
I've like, work with Tom on putting this stuff together and filming these bits of videos and doing these photos and making this social media content with him to promote things, and run his Instagram with James, like I said. So it's been good. It's been a nice little team of people to work with to do stuff, and hopefully now we're getting to another level with it now, I think. So, well, Tom is. I'm just sort of along, helping, not we. But
Don't put yourself down though, mate. You're important part. We tend to do that, don't we? But like I was speaking to someone the other day just about like, you know, particularly like in music, you can like whatever level you're at, right at the start of like supporting bands, just get on the stage for the first time, or it's all part of an ecosystem. It's all part of a thing, you know.
mm, mm,
You have to, and as I've got older, I've kind of like appreciated and not wanting maybe people to slap you around the back and say well done on a job.
yeah,
I've kind
yeah,
of like I don't need that anymore where I did when I was younger, and I'm just sat
yeah,
back.
yeah,
I can just like look at it what from wider in and just think you are part of an ecosystem. What you do is important. Don't beat yourself up about it if people aren't slapping you
yeah.
on the back for it every 5 minutes.
Yeah, and obviously the work that I do with Tom is in this day and age very important.
Yeah,
Like the social media presence is very important, and the look of something is just as important. Unfortunately, is just as important as the music.
yeah,
So to kind of be on hand to help with that and help guide that, and sort of take make stuff in a way that fits with Tom's style, which is easy to do because we're kind of into the same sort of thing. So
yeah,
I'm into that kind of vintagey looking kind of thing. So it kind of helps that you're working with Tom on that as well. And the same with John. Like, I've done some stuff with John, like especially like the
yeah,
27 past midnight video. That was like a really like important and sort of emotional video to make because of the subject matter of the song, really about his dad not and his dad not being here anymore. And that was very like hard to make because there's lots of things. If you've not seen the video, it's John's looking at a projector basically and looking through these old photos. So when we filmed that, the camera was just sort of pointing at a blank wall. So all that you see of these slides coming up, like I've kind of done all that in post and had to make all that in post and get all the photos from John and all these sort of really sort of emotional family photos. And I think that it kind of stemmed from the Rock and Roll Circus gig he did, where I made all the visuals that went on the screen behind the band. So I'd made one for every song in the set and had this idea of, or the idea I landed on was because we knew the set was going to have like these red curtains and it was going to be a bit sort of like jazz bandy looking, you
yeah.
know what I mean? And all that kind of thing.
A bit
So
bougie.
yeah, so we made like, the idea I had was that it's a big red curtain behind the band, which I was just done in like editing, video editing. And then I made the logo like gold and made it look like a sign. So it kind of like lowered in behind them. It kind of, when the music started for the first song, when Adam comes out, starts drumming, the sign kind of lowers into place. And then things would just sort of happen based on what song it was around. But when I did the videos for the visual, sorry, for No Soap and a Dirty War, I wanted it to be quite an emotional one where
it would like hit people a little bit, and it was something to not sort of distract from the musical performance, but to kind of lend itself to it. So I made this video where it was just loads of old family photos, like moving through the screen and coming through the screen, and like it was tough for me to make, like, because I didn't have much of a relationship with my dad, but my dad like passed away last January, so it was like I felt a bit like, oh wow, this is, you know, a lot sort of doing this. So yeah, I made all these visuals, and I took them to John to sort of sign off. I showed him on my laptop, as like explaining through all of them, like, so this part of the song, this is my idea. So when lottery winners are on with you, I've got their flower logo is going to pop up and move around, and then like Miss Brown, there's going to be like old pictures of Sheffield flashing around or whatever. Made this like 60s hair salon in like AI and animated it for like when haircut came up, just to give something visual. But then when it came to showing him the one for No Soap, like we're just like me, John and Laura just sat there like crying, like watching it, and it was like really emotional. And then I went to the sound check just to do some photos. Obviously, I'm doing photos for the whole day because the label wanted me to get a good photo of the band and the crowd to use as like live album artwork. So I was there for like the day and used it as a test. So they used like No Soap, and I just remember like Laura sort of turning around and then looking back, and then she's like in tears at the end of the song, and she's like, I looked around, I knew I shouldn't have looked around. I looked around at the screen, and then when it came to the performance of it, I sort of stood at the side of the stage with John's mum and his brother and his cousins, and everybody was just sort of in tears, like looking at the screen, because I didn't think John would be able to look at it. Like, it was really emotional. And towards the end of the song, he turned around and like sang to the screen and like pointed at the screen, and I was like, oh God. Everybody went, and there was like, 20 people down at the front that were all in tears and stuff. So it felt a bit weird, but I was like, good, that's exactly what I wanted to happen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
That must be
so like
such an achievement for you to do justice to their family and to the memory. That must have been really
I remember John's mum sort of texted him saying, can you send me that as a video, because I like to, so I did. And then his cousin was like, that was really good. So like, well done. Because it was emotional, and it's a hard thing to do justice, really, So I don't think John knew I had those photos. He'd sent them before for another little thing we were doing, but I don't think he knew I had all those photos. So we put them all in and made that. And then we did the music video sort of January just gone. And I still had those photos. And that was the concept that John and I came up with of this is how it's going to look and what we want it to be and stuff. And we found this really cool space to film it in and made it. And then the editing side of it, we did all that. And yes, I went back and forth a little bit, and we sort of chatted about what we wanted where and how we wanted it to look and what photos would work in what spots. But that again was like really emotional, because it's a very emotional song, and the video was very emotional. And there was a weird bit of when we were filming it, because there's only me and him there filming it, and we'd sort of finished the singing performance. He's kind of sat singing along while he's having a drink and watching it. And at the end of the first sort of take, he like sits, like puts his head in his hands, and I'm like filming that, and I'm like, okay, can you do that again? And that was really powerful. And he did like, so it's a bit weird that you sort of like, without trying to sort of play on it, like almost like just, okay, do that again. That looks really good because you look really sad. I mean, I know you are really sad because this is a very emotional song anyway, but can you do that again for me? And we'll make sure we get a good clip of that or whatever. And we'd done it. I sent him, we'd had a few back and forth on the edit, sent it him just on like WhatsApp, so like really like low quality. And then he rang me, come back from the gym at like 9:30, and he rang me and he was like, Robert, thank you, that's amazing. I like, sound good. Like, we're there. And I sent it to the label, and they were like, no notes whatsoever. That's perfect. So got it up, and it did really well on socials and stuff, and really powerful. So
where do you go from here then?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what did you do?
An amazing emotional moment.
Yeah. What do you do next?
I presume that's like the pinnacle of creating something it's seeing how people, how emotionally you can affect
Yeah,
people, things like that.
yeah. Yeah, I think seeing people's reactions to things is really good, whether it's video or photo. Like people reacted really strongly to the photo I did of Owen Cooper when I went and shot him on the adolescence set. Every time someone comes, because I have it on the wall in the studio, and every time someone comes in, they're like, so good, and like that's amazing, amazing photo. And I've been really fortunate to work with some really good people, and like Owen, like Vicky McClure, I had Vicky in the studio and did some shoots with her for like a wider day fever thing. Did some stuff with Toddler and Idris Elba. Like that was crazy, going down to London and shooting some stuff like that. Stuff with like Persephonica, so like, the political currency photos from a couple of years ago, like with big, going down to Soho and having half an hour with Ed Balls and George Osborne and making sure you shoot them and that. So a lot of things I've been like really grateful for doing. And I think I don't know, I just have this thing, I just want to keep going. Okay, like what's next? Yeah. And what do I do next? And
what
kind of thing do I want to do?
What exciting
well, I don't know. I think I do a lot of stuff with bands now, which I really enjoy.
Nice.
I have a lot of bands like reach out now to come and be in the studio, and that's from like word of mouth, I guess, and doing stuff. I like maybe Golden and did a shoot with them a couple of times. They're coming back in. Rosadox recently like reached out through their management, were like, "You're the man for this. Can we do some photos?" And lots of like sort of solo artisty stuff. So I don't know. I try not to limit myself too much to it. There's things I want to do, but it's getting that idea out there and finding people enough to trust you to like go along with that idea, I guess, and do stuff. So who knows? I think that's the main thing, is like, don't leave yourself boxed in to a certain thing or style, and just be like open to trying stuff and do things. But I suppose there's like projects to work on that I'd like to do. I don't know, more music stuff, I'd like to work with more artists, and there's obviously like your dream artist you'd like to do a shoot with, and
Noel and Liam,
things like that. Yeah, I'd love to do that. That'd be amazing.
Would that be your dream one?
That probably would be like like them two, or like I've said this before, like Kendrick Lamar would be up there. Like Miley Cyrus, I'd fucking love to do a photo shoot with Miley Cyrus. I think she's cool as fuck. So something like that. But you never know. You just gotta manifest it, I guess. And hopefully it comes off. So, but it's just getting into that space and how you get yourself out there and I do want to do more stuff like outside of Sheffield. Not that I've for 1 minute think I've done enough here or whatever. That's not the case at all. But I think it's very important to like spread yourself and not be boxed in and do stuff in other places. And, I kind of did that a little bit with some corporate kind of client work I did in like Ibiza, and I'd like to do some more stuff like that and go and do stuff in different countries. But, that's also like on me to be pushing myself to do it and not getting comfortable with just, I'm doing all right, so this is enough,
Yeah. Well, just on a personal level, I'm dead proud of what you created, mate. I think it's amazing.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
It's beautiful work that you're producing, mate. And knowing you from back at just some senior every Friday night in the pub down bottom of Gleagles Road,
down in New Inn,
all those years ago, just to see what you're doing now, mate. I'm just dead proud of the work that you're doing, and just crack on, mate. I just think it's going to be.
Thank you, mate.
Whatever comes up next is going to be great. Nice one.
Thank you, pal.